Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you better believe it, it's the Causeway Kings, and we're back once again here proudly with the WMEX Sports Podcast Network, and also proudly on abingtoncam.tv. Check them out online for all the great programming around the clock. Abington Public Access, thank you so much for having us here tonight. Your friend, Ben Rabinovitz, leading the way as always, along with my trusty co-hosts here. We'll do a quick check-in. We've got returning champ Adam Clancy in the mix. Good to have you back, buddy.
It's good to be here, guys. Great to be back here with the crew. Back with Abington Cam TV here. Ready to get another episode going.
I love it. Of course, Gordo returns, sporting some new threads. I like it, buddy. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Last night's game, Hockey Fights Cancer. I wore this shirt today for a good friend, Christine Steck. She's battling cancer right now, so just want to give her a little shout out and show some support for Team Christine. So
that's what it's all about, love and support from the community. And last but not least, he wasn't with us the first time around, but he's back. It's Merrill Marshall. Merrill, good to have you here with us.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, guys. Great to be here. A little different, trying to get used to being on set here. So this is going to be fun. Thanks to Abington Cam for having us, and I'm just going to try to assimilate in and hit the ground running.
He's still trying to figure out what to do with the hands.
He's a new guy.
We never know what to do with these hands, but we'll figure it out.
I do miss the ferns though, and the couch.
Don't want to grow my hair out?
No, I feel like I'm going to fall back in this chair.
No, I have no hair.
Well, now that we all know the real important questions, folks, we're here to do one very important thing, and that's talk Boston Bruins hockey, as well as a look around the NHL. And boys, it's been about a week since we've checked in with the listeners and the viewers, maybe a little longer if you're waiting for that last episode from Abington Cam. It's been a couple of weeks. But we're back. We're here. The Bruins are 6-1-0, a beautiful start. They're off tonight. They just cleaned up house, a 3-1 win against the Dallas Stars. And on to the Detroit Red Wings tomorrow. Clance, what are we looking forward to?
I got to tell you, if you asked me before the season started that they would be 6-1-0 right now, I would have said no. But the way they've been playing, unbelievable. Allmark, if he keeps going the way he is worth every single penny of the $5 million they're paying him right now. No doubt about it. Swayman, I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if he's a little snake bitten, there's too much pressure on him as the young guy, but Allmark is the go-to guy right now. Forward-wise, they're firing on all cylinders in my eyes. D-pairings, the Bruins, the forwards just better keep scoring.
Forwards better keep moving, that's right. Gordo, your assessment?
I think I don't know, it's weird. I've watched a lot of NHL games the last week or so, and it's like trying to figure out if anybody plays defense anymore. I don't think anybody does. It's like the craziest thing. Bruins, hot start. Definitely putting my foot in my mouth after the last couple of weeks here, saying that's going to be a little bit of a rough start. But
his new favorite player is Connor Clifton.
Connor Clifton. We'll get into that guy in a minute. Allmark, I think he's starting to solidify himself as probably like the front runner for the goaltending position.
Absolutely.
And you know, I think the 6-0-1 record is a testament to his play, really. Up front, depth is, I mean, for the amount of goals that we're giving up right now, we definitely need to be scoring that many. I think the Bruins are about 20 goals for in the first 6 games.
Yeah.
7 games.
The difference is outstanding.
Yeah. So whether or not they're going to continue to keep scoring like that, I guess it's a little, you know, I was a little, the line combos, I don't know what you guys thought, but Monty, I felt like was kind of, I know from the preseason we had the checkmate line, right?
Yep.
Right.
I liked that a lot. And then I noticed I know it's gone. I noticed over the last several games, you'd see, and it was weird. One time you'd see Hall out with, Krejci and who's the other Czech kid? Not Zaka.
Zaka, yep.
And then, later you'd see Hall bump up with, Bergeron and, I'm having
Jake DeBrusk.
DeBrusk.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. It's late, folks. My brain's starting to shut down.
No, he's not afraid to play line roulette and spin the wheel.
Agreed. But realistically, so far between the first 7 games, the only consistent line they've had has been the third line. It's always been Coyle, Frederick, and Smith. Granted, Smith was a healthy scratch for 2 games, but
Greer came in and scored.
Greer came in. He's been stepping up. I don't know what they see in Trent Frederick. I am sorry.
Yeah.
Little story. I went to the Providence Bruins game on Sunday. Took my family, the boys' first time to a pro hockey game. Unbelievable atmosphere. A lot of fun. It was like Halloween day, so all the kids were dressed up in their costumes and all that. But there is nothing down in Providence.
Nothing on that depth
Nothing.
chart, huh?
Well,
McLaughlin did not do a whole lot.
LaSalle's all right.
LaSalle didn't play. Beecher, I think I could beat Beecher one-on-one right now.
Beecher has no
Yikes.
points. He has no points in
No
Providence
points.
right now.
That's not
McLaughlin, he looked good at times, but
Yeah. LaSalle's got about 6 points, I think, and
yeah.
5. He's
And I think
dressed-
he didn't play, Wagner didn't play, and I think it's because that was their third game in a row. They played Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday.
Yeah.
So I think they
Yeah,
was
they
giving
did the
those
triple
guys a break, but they better hope that the Bruins better hope that their forward combos stay healthy because there's not a lot of firepower down below to help out.
Well, that was my concern going into the season. Not that I didn't want them to sign Krejci and Bergeron back. Obviously, Don Sweeney, we've been critical of him, but he's not an idiot. He wants, he needs those players to play for them to have a shot at making the playoffs. But my concern is now just long term. Are they going to stay healthy? That's everybody's concern, and that's the key to this team. I mean, we're seeing, too, Nick Foligno looks reinvigorated because
He's got more
healthy.
goals this season than he had in the first two seasons with the Bruins combined.
Yeah,
True.
he's healthy now, and I think you're seeing, again, the difference that can make. And I think, let's be honest, him, Riley, they're playing for their jobs because they know that the lineup isn't solidified yet. You're going to have Marchand and you're going to have McAvoy coming back into the lineup eventually. Marchand, we'll get into a little later, was already skating, just started skating yesterday. So there's going to be competition, and who's going to be that odd guy out? And
I hope to God it's Trent Frederick.
yeah, I mean,
It certainly would make sense, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean,
he's a first-round pick.
He's a first-round
unfortunately
bust.
he's gonna get. Well, what I'm saying, I agree, but I'm saying they're gonna give him a longer leash than they would a kid who is like a fourth round.
it's his third year. How much longer of a leash does he need?
I
Yeah.
agree.
You'd be surprised with some of these
I
players.
mean,
We
no
all know how
offense. I would
dramatic
much
it can
rather
be.
see Greer in the wing, Coyle in the middle, Smith in the other wing.
To add to that, another thing that I was disappointed with Frederick in the Ottawa game when he took that stupid penalty and boarded. Who was that? Was it DeBrincat?
Yeah.
He boarded DeBrincat, stupid play, and then Watson comes out when he gets out of the box.
And then he won't fight him.
He won't fight him. That.
Because
I don't
Watson
know.
would have eaten him for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Well, I mean,
True.
And I think we discussed that on the last show, was him defining that kid's role, right? Is he gonna be an instigator fighter type, or is he gonna be just an up and down third
It's
third
almost
line
like
winger?
he's like a kind of like from a antagonist standpoint, like a Tom Wilson. He'll do stuff to make you want to fight, but he'll only fight you if he knows that he can beat you.
Yeah, Wilson can fight though.
but I mean,
Yeah, but Wilson won't
can
fight
score
Revo.
goals.
And
True.
Revo wants to fight him.
True.
And Wilson will not go near
Not
him.
too many people
Will
want to
score
fight
25.
Revo though.
Wilson could score 25 goals. Like, Trent Frederick doesn't do anything elite. He's not an elite goal scorer. He's not an elite defender. He doesn't really kill penalties. He's not.
He must be
an
one
elite
heck of a
agitator.
locker room guy to still be on that
Yeah.
roster.
Oh, there's
He-
no doubt about that.
Well, I
He
feel
is
bad
a-
for Coyle right now because Coyle, like he's on an island all by himself.
Well, to be honest with you, like, and I've
He's
said
healthy
it
too,
years,
which is
years in
huge.
past since they've had Coyle. Other than the first year he came in
With Johansson.
with Johansson and Heinen when they were the best line in the playoffs, since then Coyle has never had more than 2-game stretch with the same pair of wings.
No.
It's different sets of wings every single game for this kid.
Impossible to make any kind of chemistry.
No,
we know
and-
how pivotal that is.
Exactly. It's what they should do is get you 4 lines, give them a 5 to maybe 6 to 8 game stretch of all playing together, seeing what works, and then make adjustments from there. Don't make an adjustment after 3 shifts because they didn't get a point or anything like that. It's ridiculous in my eyes.
Number
playing with-
one thing that drives me crazy, and I'm right there with you, Clance, you got to give these things time. You can't just make a split-second decision on 3, 4, 5 shifts. Even one game, in my opinion, is not nearly enough to see if these guys are going to work well together or not. And you got to let that time unfold naturally.
If you look at like the D pairs, Clifton and Forbert, they
play well together.
They play very well together because they've given them that time to develop that chemistry and understand their reads and their playing styles. Forbort is clearly a more stay-at-home big defenseman who, to this day, I still challenge to a foot race and
Someday we're gonna
on-ice
get
race.
that done. Someday.
I'm calling it out right now. I want it.
Let's make it happen,
And
folks.
Clifton is more of an
potato sack
offensive
race.
type player in my eyes. So those two, they mend well together. They read each other well. When you give them that time to develop that chemistry, then you see what happens. They're becoming more of the more reliable pair of D to play every game.
They were the best pair in the playoffs last year. But, I mean, you look at Coyle, who are they giving him for wings? You got Craig Smith, who hasn't scored since, like, before the pandemic, it seems like. He is snake pit.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost is like false advertising. Like, well, he's a 5-time 20-goal scorer. Like,
That was many moons
that
ago.
was
He's
a
been in the league
long
15
time ago
years.
when gas
Yeah.
was like $1.50 a gallon. Like, and then you
Back in
got
the day.
then you got Trent then you got Trent Frederick, who we just summarized his scouting report, and it's like again, it's Coyle having to drag these guys along. Maybe he can develop some chemistry with Greer.
Both BU boys.
I mean, I'd like to see them, shake it up. Maybe bring up McLaughlin.
I would
'cause,
love
again,
to see
he played well with
Coyle,
Coyle.
Greer, and McLaughlin. That would be an unreal third
Now
line.
you're talking a real grinded out line.
And they're all 6'2" or bigger.
Yep.
And again, you're
Yep.
going to need that in the postseason because their other lines, even their fourth line, they're not a real big team. But you put them together, in the playoffs, that could be a line that could wear teams down.
Yeah.
Especially coming up against this Detroit Red Wing team coming up, depending on when you're viewing this, folks, on Thursday. Today's Wednesday, right? It is
Yes.
Wednesday.
Today is
Yes, I'm
Wednesday,
making
buddy.
sure
All day
still.
till midnight.
All these days just start blurring into one another, and I have no idea anymore. But the Detroit Red Wings are sporting one of the physically largest lines in the NHL, possibly in NHL history. And
Yep.
I know you guys saw the stats
I
in
think
the line.
averaging 6'6", 235 pounds.
Yeah.
Woo, that's making me look like a little guy.
Yep.
One of them's 18 years old.
Yeah. And he
Wow.
can play.
And
Man-child.
he's got unbelievable hands, and he knows the game very well. And he is going to be a stud in the league in the next few years.
Yep.
Wow, that's going to be something.
That's
to
the
keep an
one
eye
thing
on.
I feel like Detroit has always done well is develop their players.
Yeah, I mean
know?
they've I think they had that down cycle, and now
Yep.
they're starting to get on that upswing now, where you've got some really talented young kids.
Yep.
And that's going to happen with every organization.
Except the Sabres. Well,
They're
Hey.
strong in net
Hey,
now too.
well,
took them
one
10 years.
I
but
was
yeah.
going to say tonight, head coach Don Granato, my former junior coach,
Hey,
they're off to a pretty damn good start, man.
Yeah.
Like
Tage Thompson is filthy.
yep. I mean they
got that one right.
They're
Alex Tuck, filthy.
You
Oh,
got
yeah. Good pickup.
You've got power back there now. You've got who's the
Darlene, who's coming in.
So-
He's now
Who's woken up.
just
yeah.
lost a 5-goal scoring
Yeah,
streak.
he
Yeah.
like set like a record for like most
Yeah.
point streak for defenseman or
Goals
something
scored
like
by
that.
a defenseman,
But
yeah.
you can see his game is evolving and he's becoming more and more confident
Yep.
every single game, and it's showing now.
Yeah.
It takes defensemen longer too. I've said that before. I mean, dare we say though? I mean, I know it's early, but maybe that trade worked out for both teams because the Knights are tied with the Bruins for the most points in the league.
Yeah.
And-
Cassidy versus Monty.
That would be
if you're going to
great.
talk about the Knights, you got to give hats off to Phil the Thrill.
Absolutely.
Passing,
That was a segue.
passing our man Keith Yandel in the all-time Ironman streak at 690 games.
Yep.
You know what though is they had it up on the TV and they were showing each team that they played for and all the games. Never showed the Bruins.
Bruins.
Though.
Yeah.
They did
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Toronto,
Yeah.
Arizona, and
In Vegas.
Vegas now. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They probably asked him. They said, "Phil, do you want equal representation for all the teams?" He went, "Yeah, except Boston.
except
Cut
for
that
the
one down in
Bruins."
half." would
Very
you?
humble about it too, though. When they interview him, he's like, what does this mean to you? He goes, I don't know. I guess I play a lot of games.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it? I think you said 600. It's 990.
980 games, yes.
And on top of that, on top of what already was a magical night, his 400th
400th goal.
career
400th career goal,
That
yep.
is unbelievable stuff. You just don't see that
He looks
anymore.
rejuvenated in Vegas. They
looks
say
a little
like he's
lean.
lost 80 pounds.
Well, they said he came in 21 pounds lighter,
Yeah.
That's incorrect.
in much better shape, but dude,
That's
shave your
just
head, man.
that goes to show you.
He's
how-
got to shave that head. I'm sorry.
he's
I mean,
he's
guys,
talented.
I'm not one to talk here.
He's man of
but
the people.
He's
Yeah. Well, I tried his diet plan when I played hockey, and it didn't work for
What,
me.
eating
but
donuts and
just
nachos?
eating hot
Hot dogs?
dogs.
Nothing but
and-
hot dogs, yeah.
I mean, he's a player, and he can
snipe.
Did he ever
can-
say if it was a condiment or was it just a plain dog? Like, what would he do? Would he slather that?
You gotta
thing
throw
with
some
ketchup
ketchup
or
on it.
something?
Yeah.
Or
Even some honey mustard sauce.
There you go. That's the
Yeah.
way to do it right there. Got to have priorities in order. But
What about sauerkraut? What are your thoughts on that? No.
Go home.
Yeah.
home?
What are you
Doors
from
over
the
there.
Midwest?
I've
Get
never
out of
had
here.
sauerkraut. I just figured I'd
It's
throw it
not
out
bad.
there.
It's an acquired taste.
I am
though.
a mustard guy over a ketchup guy when it comes to hot dogs. Just
Yeah,
gonna say
same.
that.
Okay,
Same.
that's fair. That's fair.
Ketchup all the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So on that note, folks, obviously we're keeping an eye around the league. Let's talk about some of the scores that from last night, just so we can get caught up. And I'm going to run through these scores, and one by one, you guys tell me surprised, yes or no. So obviously, I don't think anyone's surprised with a 3-1 win from the Bees over the Stars. We'll pass on that one. The Blue Jackets play host to the Arizona Coyotes. 6-3 in regulation for the Yotes. Clance, take it away.
I can't even.
And then the troll job by the Arizona Coyotes after the game.
Yeah, it was
How?
great.
I didn't even
that
see
was
that. How
phenomenal.
I said on the text
even
chain.
won that. I don't know. I'm
Needless to say,
baffled.
shocking.
very shocked.
Yeah.
They're an NHL
I want to
team.
say this NHL season has kicked off. Like, you watch some of the games and you're like, wait, how the heck did that just happen? I feel like that's
about
even
that.
with the Bruins. I'm like, oh, this is going to be, and you guys know me. I'm not even, I just want to watch hockey. And now I've sat and I've watched every Bruins game, and I'm like, oh man, they're actually pretty freaking good this year. Like, what the hell's going on? We're talking about their decor in the back end, and the goaltending situation. Who's going to step up? Is it going to be Swayman or Allmark? And guys are hurt, and we're talking about like December when we think the Bruins might start like putting it together, and now they're they're off to
President's Trophy.
they're off to a hot start right now.
Yeah, maybe.
Looking at the scores, Benny, we're hitting it. Sitting here talking about Detroit, who the Bees got tomorrow night. They lose to the Devils 6-2.
6-2.
The Devils have been up and down this season so far.
I mean, Devils have a
but
lot of young talent. Obviously, they got obviously Jack Hughes. They drafted his younger brother. Was it Luke?
Yeah, I think it's
Yep.
Luke.
Who's I think is in his sophomore year at Michigan. They don't
Miles Wood.
Miles Wood.
Yep. Big sturdy player in that guy.
Your boy
Nico-
Dougie
is it-
Hamilton.
Dougie Fresh. Nico Heischer.
He's sure, yep.
Jesper Bratt, all these young guys are starting to come in, but I think Mackenzie Blackwood's their starting goalie, who is
Wow.
Well, I think that's what you're going to see with a lot. It seems like a lot of teams. There was a lot of turnover, and you see a lot of young kids playing right now, and I think that's why you're seeing a lot of these up and down scores and kind of all over the place. And guys are trying to figure out systems, and Bruins. Again, back end, there's some scary parts there, but up front, we've got a ton of veteran presence, and we got guys like I mean, Pasta right now.
we didn't even talk about his snipe last night.
That was a
He
unbelievable
literally looked like a
goal.
Navy SEAL sniping
was-
someone from 800 yards away.
Was talking about that today. Just the angle
Proud
in
shout out
which
to our vets.
that
Absolutely.
Lindholm started, working the blue up top, and he was kind of like, it wasn't like that much of an angle of a pass.
No.
And the way he turned his body on that thing, and it was just perfect top
Under the
corner.
bar.
Like
You
just
see the slow motion though, the flex in his stick.
Yeah.
It's like he made the letter U.
yeah,
He's
he's
unbelievable.
It's amazing.
I mean, he's got to be up there in a conversation. I know we're super early in the season, but I think he's got to be up there in the conversation of
one of the top three in goals.
He is leading the team in
he's got
goals
5
right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's leading the league in points right
got
now.
12 points.
And he's
a lot of dollars they're going to be paying for
That's what
every
I'm
day
saying.
that
They're
goes
talking,
by.
they're talking north of 10 million
Yeah.
for him.
And it's worth
Someone
every
wake
penny.
up! Someone wake up Jeremy Jacobs. Let him know.
Yeah.
Let him wake him up from his siesta.
Hey, this guy's putting up points. Just FYI.
Do you think he knows
FYI.
who David Pasternak is? No.
No,
I sure hope
I'm going to go no.
Well, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So we're talking all these scores, like the Blackhawks beat the Panthers, which is kind of mind-boggling. But when you look at it, I just think you see these swings in the way the game is played. Like when the Bruins won the Cup, that was around the era where you had big physical teams. I know the Blackhawks ended up winning 3, but
Ugh.
everybody wanted to copy the Ducks and the Bruins. Everyone's trying to be a heavy team. Now the Avs are win, and they're a skilled team. Obviously, they have Cale Makar, which how you gonna
not
end up with
fair.
a Cale Makar?
It's not
But
fair, I know.
teams are trying to replicate that now. So I think it's a copycat league, is what I'm trying to say.
Well,
And
Cale
you
Makar
kinda see
doesn't have
that.
a goal yet, does he?
No. You know what? I watched a little bit of that game last night, Rangers Avalanche. Adam Fox was the better defenseman between the two of them last night.
Yep. Yeah.
He made a play last night to the go-ahead goal. He stepped up, played the body on McKinnon, knocked him off the puck, went down, it was a 3-on-2, tic-tac-toe, backdoor goal he got.
Yeah.
Could you imagine McCarr and Foxo as a D pair?
Oh, talk about dream team right there, buddy. That's
But
what
no,
that
I mean,
would be.
McCarr's kind of off to a slow start.
He just won a Stanley Cup, to be entirely
Doesn't
fair.
I think he'll be all right.
Does not matter. You are correct.
You should still be on cloud 9, firing like you did winning the cup.
Absolutely. Look
I
what
think they'll be
Tampa
all
Bay
right.
did.
They had a
after
thing
3
on. I
years.
saw a thing on social media earlier today, like top 5 players like who were kind of like off to slow starts, and Maurice Seitzer, the kid who won the Rookie of the Year from Detroit, the defenseman.
Yeah.
He's kind of invisible. Roman Yossi. And then they had one for Toronto.
Oh boy.
Why even bother?
But it gives like on the other ones, it give like the reasons, and each reason was nobody cares, nobody cares, nobody cares, nobody cares.
That's great.
It was unbelievable.
Speaking of, at least nobody in Boston cares, before we continue on with the scores here, can we talk about the inside-out implosion of the Vancouver Canucks this season so far? It is getting ugly out
5-2.
there.
They're going for my guy.
Listen, if
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
going,
Going
if
for
you're
my
going
guy.
for Connor Bedard, you got to find a different way to go about it because the way they handle it is not
We're
good.
not even 15 games into the season, guys.
He likes all their social media posts. I heard he's a Vancouver Canuck fan.
Who, Bedard?
Yeah.
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 He's a beast.
He's a beast, yes.
They've cycled through coaches. It was Travis Green. Now it's Bruce
Boudreau.
Boudreau. I don't know. It's got to be the mix of players. I mean, it's getting ugly. They're throwing jerseys on the ice. JT Miller's chirping the fans.
That's never a good hit, by the way.
That's never great.
And they just signed Miller to a big contract, too.
Yeah, they just picked him up.
Especially that fan base that's known to be pretty rowdy.
Yep.
You see after the Bruins won the cup, but yeah, it's a tough situation. I think they're just going to have to tank. I mean, not that we're going to spend too much time on the
7
Canucks,
games.
but it's
Yeah, literally,
a
this
disaster.
season just started. How can we?
They're already
possibly
out of
talk
it.
about
Like they are
tanking? That's
already Buffalo sabering themselves from last year.
All I know is that Boo or Boudreau is still the big question mark. Are they booing the team? Are they booing the coach? Are they booing everybody all at once? Personally, as a Bruins fan, I'm happy with it either way.
Yeah.
We beat them. That's fine. It'll always be like that. All the best to you guys. That's what I say.
Yeah, good luck. Bios
So,
Studios.
continuously moving down, I do want to touch on this subject. The Minnesota Wild finally picked up their first W of the season against the Montreal Canadiens in a 3-1 regulation win. And of course, you can't talk about Montreal without talking about Carey Price. And of course, the news, they talked about what his addiction was to, and he came right out and said it. You know, after coming so close to a Stanley Cup, so close to putting a caveat on everything, and to have it all ripped away in the manner that it was, he said he turned to the bottle, and he was no longer a good player, a good teammate, and most importantly, as he said, he was no longer being a good father. And that's where he finally said, I need help. And it's very important for us to talk about that for a moment, because of course, we're Bruins fans here, to heck with the Habs, I get it, but on a humanity level, Carey Price is the man with the plan, as far as I'm concerned. And we've talked about that very subject countless times here on this program and many others. But the NHL substance abuse program is there for a reason. And I just wanted to talk about that with you guys, get your thoughts.
Listen, hockey, yes, it's your job. It's how you support your family. But in the end of the day, it's your family that matters. And he recognized that, and he stepped up and said, I need to do what I need to do to get better. And hats off to him, and he's got my support 150% no matter what.
Yeah, it's a obviously speaking from experience, good on him for kind of recognizing it when he did, and he's still got a career left, and he's a tremendous goaltender. I think
I'd take him right now.
Yep, I think we all know that. So kudos to him for recognizing it, getting the help that he needs, and I'm sure Montreal fans would be excited to see him back in the pipes again.
Yeah.
He seemed a little in his presser, kind of, still a little bit unsure, which is not surprising. Kind of coming through all that and going through all that is never an easy thing. So, wish him the best, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in the net here pretty soon, though.
Absolutely. Absolute competitor. Meryl?
Yeah, it's the hardest thing to admit is that you have a problem in those situations, and I'm glad to see that he's addressing that he has a problem and he's going to get his help that he needs, because definitely, I mean, he's been synonymous with the Montreal Canadiens for over a decade. And we remember when he was 19 years old playing against the Bruins in the playoffs. And, just hopefully he gets the help that he needs. And I'd like to see him, back playing because, we love, seeing great players, whether it's, guys that take time off due to injury or illness. Mario Lemieux, obviously we're talking about Carey Price. There's been other players. Hell, even Phil Kessel, who we talked about.
Right.
So hopefully we get to see him on the ice sooner rather than later because he's definitely a legacy player in the league.
It'd be an unreal story, though, if he came back and
and
took them to the Cup Finals.
And they've got some. They talk about some good young players. They've got a lot of good young players. So I think we talked about that before. Like,
Who is that guy?
they can be I don't think they've been off to the best start. Again,
No, they're definitely not been off to a good start.
we're very early in the season, but they've got some really, really good young. That goal Suzuki scored the other night.
my God.
That shootout goal
Oh my
was
God.
unbelievable.
That was crazy.
But look at the young guys they got. Caulfield,
Yeah.
Suzuki, the kid they drafted first overall this year.
He just
So-
scored his first goal the other night.
Who was the
in
guy that beat the
Slavkovsky.
bag out
Out
of
of,
Cassius?
Arbor Chicago.
The X-Man.
He's a rookie too.
Yeah,
man.
I know. He
Worked
was
at Costco 2 years ago.
I was gonna say he was like
No, he's an NHL
flipping.
guy.
He was
It
like making donuts or something or whatever. Yeah,
he was
working at
literally
Costco.
working in the stockroom at Costco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny they were talking about how it's how do you pronounce the kid's name they drafted first overall?
Slavkovsky.
Slavkovsky. The other guy we just mentioned, another rookie. How all three of them are staying with the big club.
Yep.
And those two are going to be roommates. But then the number one overall pick kid is going to live with a billet family.
Oh, really?
Because they said because he's 18 years old, he's living in a massive city like Montreal. Like they want him to be with a family to kind of help to be there, support him instead of like not that his own teammates won't support him,
Right.
but he needs like a family around him.
They need somebody keeping an eye on this kid. You can't just toss someone in the middle of downtown Montreal, Quebec, and hope for the best. We've seen that happen before.
Toss me
and it's
and
been
Clance
terrible.
there.
Listen, I've had my fair share of downtown Montreal.
But yeah, Slavkovsky is 240 pounds. They
He
updated
broke the oxygen bike at the combine.
He's
He's
a
a horse.
beast. He's a beast.
It's a horse and a mule all in one, man. And his puck control is unbelievable. He is.
Yeah.
But
He
it's
looks
a-
like Yogg's out there when he's got his hands on the puck. He just can't get away from
It's
him.
a
man.
lot. It's a lot of pressure. These on these young kids. Very, very, very few guys come in and first round draft pick, make the team right off the rip, and then come in and just dominate the league. It's a very tough
count on
and difficult thing to do. You're trying to balance being an 18-year-old kid, and you're playing with guys that can, at that level, they're boozing and going out and being an adult
In Montreal,
and
18's the drinking age.
True.
Strangely enough,
True.
yes, absolutely.
Well, yeah, it's a dangerous city. You can get,
But,
you can get in trouble fast in
You
Montreal.
can tell though that he's got the demeanor of he's 18 years old, but he's a man. Like he's a mature young man. He knows what he wants to do. He knows what his job is, and I think he's just going to embrace it. And
Well, I think a lot of
That's the
those
way to do
European guys too. He's Slovakian, right? So, coming here and being in the North America and just getting out of Slovakia, I think is probably something that is. I don't think a lot of Euros come here and they want to be here and stay here and live here because it's North America. It's awesome.
Right,
So,
absolutely.
Hey, you're in an awesome city. You get to play hockey, like your dream job.
That's
like,
it.
Making
and he's a
big
stud
bucks.
too.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking dude.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
It is what it is.
Handsome kid, big, strong. He's going to be, again, and then you got Martin St. Louis is at the helm there. It's,
And he's all about
There's no-
preaching fun.
there's
He's
nobody
preaching
better.
fun.
yeah.
That's the best way
He's
to go.
kind of the
about it.
new wave coach you're seeing now too, like that guy who's played in the league, or that's the kind of guy that the teams are going for, or somebody like what's his name, Jared Bednar from the Abs. A guy who's a young guy, but he toiled in the minors and really worked his way up. Like those are kind of the two kinds of coaches you're seeing now. They're getting away from, although Torts is still around.
God
He's
bless
the
Justin
last of the
Verlander.
dinosaurs. But
I think St. Louis is going to really turn that team around. And they did an interview with Caulfield, and he's like, it's so crazy. He goes, I grew up wearing 26 because of him. He goes, now he's my coach.
Yeah.
And that's
I think
isn't
they
that
call
so
it-
cool when it's not planned.
They,
that way?
they say St. Louis' dad.
Yeah.
There's like an ongoing joke
Well,
in the
you see,
locker room.
there's actually a video of St. Louis showing Caulfield at practice, like a fake shot move at practice, and then literally the next game, Caulfield went out and did it and scored.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
So little things like that, you can tell that these players are embracing his style of coaching and then believing in what he's trying to teach them.
Yeah. Well, they're getting. I mean, the Torts of the world are. They're going away from that, right?
Torts.
It's just because it's a different generation. I mean, it's like they were talking about that on sports radio with the Patriots Day and Bill Belichick. It's like handling Mac Jones and that whole situation. And with football, it's a new generation of kids.
Evolve.
Like the way you have to handle them, and
Players have emotions, and coaches finally have to realize that you can't just yell and scream and
Nope.
pound your fist into the ground
Well,
for victory.
Torts, like,
It's just not going to work that
Bench
way
you
anymore.
can't
Kevin
get away
Hayes
with
and
it.
Travis Konecki for the third period last game.
yeah.
Why? Yeah, right.
One was over. I think one asked for like a football score, maybe.
I think Konecki, because they said, like,
Yeah.
I saw a headline, like, Konecki gets benched for third period for a ridiculous reason.
Yeah,
That's wild.
I think he
Yeah.
asked a fan.
I don't even know what Hayes
Oh no,
was benched for.
it was the baseball game, the Phillies game.
He probably had some money on
I
it.
think he asked one of the fans what the score was of the Phillies game, and Torts.
I bet you
Okay.
Torts probably did, because I think they ended up losing that game.
Yeah, well,
They lost. I want to say they lost that
you can
game.
get away with a lot more when you win. There's no doubt about that.
Definitely not a
But you bench two of your best players when you're losing, like, not the smartest move.
Yeah, but again, I think some of it still has to go back on the player. Like we've talked about that too. Like, we went from Claude Julien to Cassidy. I mean, now look at Cassidy in Vegas. Like,
That's right.
The message wears thin sometimes in hockey. It's 82 games. It's a grind.
Yeah.
You've played pro hockey. You know how it is. It's like, geez,
well, you have to get, it's a balance, right? So you've got 20-something guys in your locker room, and every single one of them has an ego because they're all getting paid big money, and
Big money.
a lot of guys were first-round draft picks, and this and this and this, and you have to figure out a way how to juggle all that and keep the unit cohesive throughout 80-something games. And then if you make it through the playoffs, it's a lot, man. It's a long season. They play a ton of games. It's like
Travel.
There's a reason they call it the War Room in Toronto.
Yeah.
That's for certain. You got to
But-
get those things right.
I was thinking over the weekend about Montgomery and just some of the stuff that he went through, as we all know, some of his stuff in Dallas, and I'm like, I wonder if they brought him in here just to be like a puppet, like.
I certainly hope not, just
No.
for that guy's
I-
reputational sake.
I
but-
feel like they, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
I think they brought
Playing
him
a little
in,
devil's advocate. I
brand
know
new
he's-
voice, no
Manage the
ties to the
personalities.
organization, different style of coaching. So far, I love what he's done. I think the team is really
They're definitely
embracing his style.
they're definitely responding to him.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's a run and gun style of play that the players, I'm sure, have been looking for quite some time. I mean, let's be honest, I liked Cassidy and all, but it was a rigorous system. There was no run and gun taking chances. And now with Monty's system, it is a lot more run and gun. And if a player finds themselves out of position or gets beat, the whole team's in trouble now. And that was one link. I like it, though. I like putting everybody all hands on deck. Let's go for it. The forecheck, the back check, it's all
Five-man
there.
attack, yeah.
The
Well, that's the thing
five-man
too, is I
attack.
don't, you're
But when
not
it
seeing
fails,
many
man, it
players
looks
out of
bad.
position in the games now. They were talking
Outside
about
of
how
Ottawa.
like the centers are much more reliable in all three zones. They're better positioned. Like, look at Bergeron's empty net goal the other night. Just having his stick in the right place and playing the angle the right way to knock the pass down and gets an open net.
My only watching these games, and I'm like, man, I would not want to be a defenseman in the NHL.
Nope.
It's you can't do anything anymore.
No.
You can't clutch, you can't grab, you can't.
If you look at a guy the wrong way,
you
you get a
can't. You
penalty.
can't hold up or kind of give your D partner a little time. You can't touch anybody. And the loose pucks in front, you can't touch anybody. It's like watching it, and that's probably why I don't watch much of it until the playoffs, because then the playoffs come around and they kind of just let it all go.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm watching some of these games, and it's just like it's like a zone defense where just and
Keep the guy in front of you.
But
Yeah.
it's like also you've got these highly skilled guys. Like I guess it's probably like a caution on the side of error. We'd rather just be backed off And
Some of the gaps they're giving up are insane. man.
well, you have
Real
to.
bad.
You have to. I mean, these guys can flat out fly. You know, you get Connor McDavid being untouched coming through the neutral zone of the puck. I mean, what are
they
you
gotta catch him
what are you
first.
supposed to do as a defenseman?
And how
You
many
need the
strides do
forwards
you
and
really
back
think
check.
you have to catch someone like that?
None.
Honestly.
None.
Maybe two if you're lucky. If they catch that one on you, it's all over right there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, same thing with Pasta, right? Like I'm watching games and I'm like, man, I would have, you know, coming through the middle, like, you know, and I'm like, how is he, you know, it's very brave, but it's like that's the way it is now. It's
Kids are lucky Scott Stevens is
I
retired.
was just gonna say you don't
they're
see
lucky.
the Scott Stevens style hits anymore. And
Because
if you-
everybody wants to fight. There's a clean
that's the
hit
thing.
and there's a fight right
I
now.
hate that. Whenever there's a clean hit, they always feel like like perfect example. The game the other night, right? Connor Clifton, our boy.
Reverse hit.
No, was it that one?
There's a-
Yeah,
on
reverse
hits.
hit.
Yeah, on
clean
hits.
hit.
Yeah, good hit.
Hiskinen went down, and Colin Miller comes in, tries fighting him. I think he regretted that because if you lost the replay,
Oh, he definitely regretted
Clifton
it.
got him with an uppercut.
He got fed
Miller
pretty
went
good.
down.
well, you're all like, how do you come in there and then fight a kid that's 5'10",
Yeah.
and then you get
And Miller
you
6'4".
get bundled,
Yeah.
you know?
I just
way to
I
do
hate
it.
that part of the game where when there's a clean, hard hockey hit, the other team they think that you have to fight.
Because nobody hits
If
anymore.
you go
really.
back to when you started
Right.
playing hockey, body checking was part of the game.
yeah.
Huge body checks as well.
You know?
And there was no regulation of safety for your skull, your spine, your knees, none
It
of
was
that.
funny. I was listening to Missing Curfew earlier today, and they had Andy Sutton, who was a big, 6'5", 240-pound defenseman in the NHL.
Love to throw the body
And
around.
Scotty Upshaw asked him, like, you see these young guys, these guys coming through the middle, like, what's going through your head? He goes, I'm seeing green light all day long.
Yeah.
I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
Whether it's McDavid, Kane, or some goon. He goes, I'm coming across the middle, and I'm putting them on their butt.
Yeah.
Well, look at McKinnon last year. Get hit by Taylor Hall, who's hardly,
Hardly a physical player.
yeah, he's hardly a power forward, but he had his head down, got caught with his head down. His own stick came up and hit him, and they penalized Hall for it because
Yeah.
the stupid rule. But I mean, that's the other thing. Hitting is so rare, especially in the regular season. Now, in the playoffs, you see it. That's part of the reason why we love it so much. But it's like, it's very rare. Like, you'll see a big hit in the regular season game now. And that's why the other team gets up in arms and, there's a fight. A fight breaks out off a clean hit. It's ridiculous.
I can't stand it.
Unreal.
That's why I don't really take much stock in the regular season anymore. Like, hey, I'm
Neither
glad.
the Tampa Bay Lightning. They just get in.
But that's a perfect example,
Yeah.
right? They just kind of go through the motions. They do what they got to do. They get their points, and then Kucherov comes back out of nowhere, and
Long-term
you
IR,
know,
baby.
And then here we go. Like
Speaking of fighting, though, did anyone see the college fight between
oh yeah, I saw
Ohio and University of Alaska?
that. Well, it was
Fairbanks?
Alaska.
Nah,
yeah.
I need
Like,
to hear about this, please.
It was.
Oh, I
it was
think
like
I saw
literally like a
this.
bench clearing brawl, like helmets off, fights, punches,
Was
everything.
it at the end of the game?
End of the game.
It was
yeah.
in the
Oh,
it was in the handshake line.
Yeah, I was
right.
gonna
oh,
say.
even worse,
It was-
the penalties. Oh,
it was.
goodness.
It was pretty intense.
Yeah.
But now there's
You don't see many of those.
Should they allow fighting in college hockey? If
Oh,
these guys
stop
are going to
it.
go on to play pro, should they be able to defend themselves right from?
There's no way
You take
no
fighting out
way.
of college,
Are
and
you
by the time they
kidding?
get to the pros, they're
Well,
going to get
it's-
I know
back
Gordon's
in.
got a
no,
few
because
thoughts
like
on
one of the
it.
arguments is like if you
hitting
can
in
fight in
college
junior hockey and you can fight in pro hockey, why can't you fight in college hockey?
Right, it's part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, you playing like you go from junior hockey, and it's way different now. But like when I played junior hockey, I didn't wear anything. I didn't wear a visor. I wore nothing.
You're a wild man, though.
And
You're-
then you go to college, and you got to put a cage back on,
Yep.
and then so I do get the points, but I think it's the NCAA will never let that happen.
No, absolutely
ever.
not.
that's why you have full face cages on all these players.
Well, then you're asking the colleges too, like, guys get fights, you're talking stitches, dental work, like all that sort of
Your
stuff.
insurance is
like,
gonna go through the
well,
roof.
that's what I'm saying. Just from an insurance liability, I can't imagine that would ever happen. I mean, they've been talking about visors for college forever.
it's been at least 20 years
Yeah,
that I
but-
know of.
Well, just for the stick play, right, and the checking and all that stuff. Like they were talking about it. These guys. There's a lot of guys in college that run around like idiots, and they're like, you're a missile. You just go in full speed and like just you got all the protection in the world. Your face is protected, everything's protected, and you're just going in full speed and just killing guys.
Yeah, there's no regard for the
And
opponent.
then there's no repercussions for play like that. Like, they're going to call it more times than not in college. Like if you're, obviously if you run full speed across the ice.
That charge is a charge, no matter what.
Yeah. So, but,
When was the last time you saw a kid suspended for something like that in college? I mean, I can't recall.
It's been a long time.
I want to say, like, I got into a fight maybe my sophomore year of college.
So Gordo was the last one in college.
No. And I want to say we had a nice little tilt, a little line brawl against Northeastern, and then I want to say we played Merrimack, maybe. A kid that I grew up with. Playing for Merrimack, he just beanbagged one of our guys. He ripped his jersey off. He threw it in the stands.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. But outside of that, I mean, but the games get like physically brutal, and a lot of it, I mean, you talk about concussions and all that sort of stuff for players, like, the checking the right way, and like, when you put a visor on your face, you're not checking the same way.
No,
it ain't happening. Plus all the stick work and stuff like that. Like, you've got to watch your P's and Q's, and, to lead with your face is not going to go very well with a visor on.
Does
Usually.
not work very well.
Like
in
you
any
said, though,
sport.
like, every college team has like a couple guys that are out there running around hitting anything that moves. Typically, it's those guys that, they're there on scholarship, but they got, 1 year for 4, trying to, make a name for themselves to get, okay, year 2 comes, getting the second year, instead of, being a stud at, recruit, being, getting 4 for 4 right off the bat,
Yeah.
Or now with the transfer portal, it's like, hey, I'm just going to try to impress. I'm just
It's like Tinder for college hockey.
Yeah, I'm just going to try to impress, if I'm playing 5-8 minutes a game, and maybe I'll transfer next year to another school. Another school will be like, hey, come here, we'll play on the power play, we'll play in the penalty kill, or whatever the case may be. I mean, as I sat down this weekend and I watched Lowell against Northeastern, and the hitting was way different than an NHL game.
Yeah.
You could just tell.
Yeah.
What about the Quincy College team getting underway? Definitely want to talk about that for a moment.
Yeah,
Might as
they've
well talk about that play as
they're
well.
0-2 right now, but it's their first year.
Just starting out.
They're not getting blown out either. They lost their first game, I think 7-4. They lost their second game 5-3. I mean, Matt Gibbons and Kyle Robinson are doing great things over there. I think they're going to end up being a very good program over the next few years. They got some good players over there. They're decked out, obviously, in head-to-toe for barrel gear. But I think, I'm hoping to catch one of their games. I think they're playing Friday night against Babson, Johnson and Wales, I think Friday night. But
Still blows me away that a culinary school has a hockey team, but hey.
They're actually pretty good.
I believe it.
Their varsity team is one of the top D3 teams in the country.
Yeah.
Wow.
They send at least 4 or 5 kids every year off to play in the Southern Pro League or East Coast League or some league like that. They've turned their program around big time.
They've been good for a while.
Folks,
Yeah.
if you didn't know that, like I didn't know that just now, we all learned something together, and that's important right there. Here on the Causeway Kings, again, part of the WMEX Sports Podcast Network, and proudly here on the Abington Cam Network. Make sure you check out the website for all postings, all the shows, some great content at abingtoncam.tv. Check that out at pretty much any time. And the YouTube channel has got a lot too. Of course, covering the Abington Green Wave hockey team. Coach Woodford, a good friend of ours here on the show, and I can't wait for the season to get underway on the high school level so we can have Coach Woodford on here.
I've known Coach Brian Woodford since kindergarten.
Wow.
Yep, all the way back to the good old Dorchester Youth Hockey days. Great guy. He's doing great things with that program over there.
Really has.
I think he's, not even from a high school standpoint, he's doing a lot for the youth program as well. He started like an Abington Street Hockey League, which really took off. He's just, he bleeds Abington Green through and through, and I'm very proud of him, happy for him, and wish him nothing but the best of luck with his future with that team.
Absolutely. Like I said, can't wait to have him on here with us. We can squeeze in a 5th seat here. What do you think, guys?
I actually think this year they're starting a girls program.
Really?
I believe so, yeah.
That's very
great.
important because, of course, there were a couple of female players, and they just ended up on the boys' team with everybody else, which was just fine and dandy for everybody. I believe the family as well. I believe there was 3 or 4 siblings from that same family.
There's
too.
one, I believe it's a Pinot family, I want to say.
so.
Yeah, I
Possibly,
think
yes.
the daughter's Callie.
Yes,
Yes,
that's exactly
yes.
who it
I
is.
knew.
Yes.
So I coached a couple of the 2 older brothers. I think one's going to be a senior this year, but Callie's like phenomenal softball player.
Yeah.
And she's a very good hockey player too. And it's like, but like you're saying, if you actually get somebody that actually cares, it's really funny what you can do in hockey.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
like having, like,
Perfect example.
you haven't heard anything. I've been in Easton the last 5 years and they have no hockey program, but it's weird. There's a lot of kids from the town that play. I'm like, why doesn't anybody ever just, try to put something together? And it's sad because the youth hockey side at the town level, it's getting, you're seeing like Brockton youth hockey is gone.
Right.
Which is crazy. Like that, I played with a ton of kids from that area.
Boxer hockey shall make a return someday.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will. Again, it always takes that one person, in the community that's, and from the sounds of it, Abington, like I'm seeing Abington stuff starting to pop up all over the place, which is great. Like it's, we need more of that.
No, I agree, and I think the hard part of it is always, as we all know, hockey is a very expensive sport.
That's the big
It is only
problem.
getting more costly.
It really is. I mean, it's
Yeah, I saw a debate on Twitter the other day where someone posted, all the top line stuff for Bauer. It was like a stick, a pair of pants, a helmet. It was like
wasn't even enough to actually play a game.
it was
just some
it was
basics.
wild how expensive. And they talk, and Bauer is one of those brands that talks about exclusivity and everyone can play the game. And it's like your skates are $1,000 a piece, your hockey sticks are $350 a piece. How is that? But then other people are coming back being like, well, you can get this lower model for like $200. And I when people do that, it aggravates the crap out of me because I just swore. Sorry, guys. It just aggravates me to death because the lower end stuff for most of these brands are complete garbage.
Yeah.
They're garbage.
Yeah, they're not.
And you
They
know what?
literally are
Like,
complete
and-
garbage.
not even to like really talk about that much, but like that's one thing I love about Verbero, right?
Yeah.
Andy Sutton developed one stick that is, in my eyes, Merrill, you've used it.
Dude, it is amazing.
It's
Like, this stick is
it's one of
awesome.
these things like again, like he said, you go to Pure Hockey and you see 6 different Bauer sticks, you see 6 different Warrior sticks, 6 different CCM sticks. Yeah, all at different price levels because the cheaper it is, the crappier the stick is. To be honest with you, Verbero's got
the
one
less
stick
specs
at
in.
one price.
and that
And
works.
it's a top line stick. It's the top line stick says you got to try it.
Well,
but the best part is it's cost effective for the everyday person.
Well, I just heard.
You know?
I heard Bauer's going out again, so I want to say they've probably filed for bankruptcy or sold, probably 3 or 4
If
times.
you're selling $1,000 skates and no one's buying in mass,
yeah.
of course you're going to end up like that.
It's the
You
thing is
lose
you're,
out to all these
you're
other
charging
companies.
$365 for a stick.
That's ridiculous.
And the worst part is like you're only giving a 30-day warranty on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing for nothing, but it costs less for a 3-day weekend in Vermont. That's ridiculous. You
No-
can't even buy
nothing-
a
nothing-
singular
no-
stick for
no
that.
Nothing's
offense.
cheap.
That stick cost for the top line, but I think it's called like the Sync now. That's out, the brand new one. My truck payment is less than the cost of that stick.
Woo! Now, what does that say right there, folks? I think we're all in agreement. Hockey is a great sport, but man, has it got to find a way to be more cost effective.
And realistically, like, does the gear make a difference? To a point.
Yeah.
It's funny. You see kids nowadays, like they muffin a shot. The first thing they do is they look at the stick. Oh,
It's like, trust me, kid.
it has nothing to
wasn't
do with the stick, pal. Unless the stick explodes in your hands and it's in 3 pieces,
At which point, then
it's
you
not
can
the
look at
stick's
it
fault.
and go, what happened?
it's not the stick's fault.
I had a kid come up to me on Monday night we had practice and we had a split practice, so we had the two teams same age level on the ice together, and a kid came over to the bench and he's untaping his stick, and I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? And he's like, my dad taped my stick. And you could tell this thing is probably like
Not good.
20 years old. It's probably been handed down through,
Oh, no.
10 different people. And it would look like it was broken on the heel a little bit. And so it was already taped. And what the dad just did is he just took another roll of tape and just rolled it over. So it was like kind
So
of
it probably weighed about 30 pounds.
Kid's a beautiful skater. He's got great hands. Like
Floating up with a boat oar out there.
shot was a little tough, but I'm like, hey, like I remember when I was a kid, my dad, we used to go to Coleman Sports, which is not around, which is that's,
throwback.
I'm dating myself, and they would sell wood sticks. They were like in a barrel. You'd grab them out, and it was like 2 for $8.
Yep.
Now that's what I'm
Two,
talking about.
and then if I broke one, my dad would duct tape it and like put screws in it and give it back to me. So
Gotta get you $8 out of that thing.
that's just now every time I buy my son a stick, I put a bow on it and I hand it to him.
Yeah.
Like you have no idea how lucky you are.
You know how much overtime I had to work for that stick?
Yeah, I mean
exactly.
it's
Literally, kid.
Again, like I said, the gear makes a difference to a point.
yeah.
You
I
know
don't
what?
think gear so much, but I do think sticks and skates
Yeah, like
make the difference.
skates, skates, 100%.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're on 20. All the time you're on the ice, you're on your feet. You want your feet to feel comfortable, light, easy to move. Sticks, yeah, you don't want to be using a 2x4.
No.
But you don't want you want to use something that's durable, but the stick isn't the guy, the one that scores the goals. It's the player.
Yeah.
right.
The one thing I invest my money in, and I always will, is helmets.
Absolutely.
Oh, you
get-
can never
I-
have.
Absolutely.
a good thing
Unfortunately,
about
they're like $250 for a
I mean-
helmet, but it's light, it's safe. It's I've gotten both my sons the top of the line Bauer helmets just because I want their head to be protected.
I had that debate
So,
with my wife when my oldest, who just turned 5, is doing the learn to play now.
Yeah.
And I went out and bought him a new helmet. She goes, "You're going to pay $310 for a helmet?" I said,
Yeah.
"Yeah," and that's actually not even the top of the line one.
And I'm going to do it again in about 4 months.
Exactly.
If it saves his brain, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
He
day.
needs that little pudding cap there for quite a long time to come, so you might as well keep it protected.
Yeah.
Guys, we are coming up on the latter side of the show already. I feel like we just started. This is so fun, but as all things that are fun, just flies right by. So let's look ahead to tomorrow. The Boston Bruins are going to play host to the Detroit Red Wings in an original 6 matchup at TD Garden. A 7 o'clock start time, I do believe. Boys, what are we looking forward to this one? Because it's going to be a tight game.
I'm predicting a 5-2 victory by the Bruins. Allmark is going to have, I'd say,
Cheers to that.
30 saves.
You think Allmark's going to start?
I think Allmark should. I think he should start.
Yeah.
If he doesn't start and Swayman starts, going with him.
Yeah. I think I'm still in the
Going to
mood. I
4-3
think I'm
loss.
still in the mood for like a little healthy competition at the
Oh,
goal
I
tank.
love it. I want the healthy
Yeah,
competition.
I mean, I think they gave Swayman the one start. He obviously laid an egg, and Allmark had to come to the rescue. But the kid did show signs last year of being a good goaltender. So I think just to completely give up on him and then have Allmark play all the games, I think that would be
No, I think they should give like a 4 or 5 game stretch.
Yeah.
You have to.
Whether he wins or loses,
Yeah.
let him learn.
I mean,
The days of the guys like Henrik Lundqvist playing 70 games, Martin Brodeur playing 70 games, those days are over with. The tandems now are like basically 50-50. One guy plays, 45 games, the other guy plays 37. So I would.
If you look back last year, Allmark and Swayman both played 41 games.
Exactly.
well,
yeah.
they're also playing. They're paying these guys a hell of a whole lot of money.
They're
so-
paying Allmark $5 million. They're only paying Swayman not even $1 million.
Peanuts. Yeah.
Big
So,
deal dollars
You know?
right there.
But
so
the
you
good
better
thing is
carry
about
the
that
load.
tandem is if Swayman's struggling, like Allmark's going to step in and help him.
Yeah.
He's going to work with him at the rink. He's
him
going to
how to
help
be a
him
pro.
out and build
Yeah.
his confidence.
Yeah.
Because Swayman's, 23?
Yeah, he's still a baby.
Confidence is a huge thing at this level.
Well, like when we had Darling on the show, right? He
Yeah.
talked about it with Crawford.
Yep.
It's like it wasn't about whose net it was that night, or it was about their relationship and working together. And it's like, dude, this is your game. Like
Yeah.
you got it. Let's go, man. And I think that
Scotty's looking good on TV.
he does
Yeah.
look good.
He
on
is
TV.
He's looking real good on
And
TV.
crisp.
He's got the hair done up nice. the
I
beard
commented on one of his Instagram
Yeah.
stories. I said, "You are a stud."
trimmed. Yeah, he's looking sharp. He's got
suits?
He's got the suits going. Like
He still look like he's in playing shape too.
Yeah, he still looks like he's pretty
Hey, good
stout.
for him, man.
We're gonna
Like,
send him some Causeway King cufflinks or something like that. So he can just
absolutely.
wrap him on the down low.
Let's get him a Causeway Kings tie.
There you go.
Yeah, no, I think tomorrow will be, I'm intrigued to see the Red Wings, and I think that over the long haul of the season, I think they're gonna, they'll have some up and downs, but I think they're gonna.
I can't wait to see that that line.
Yeah,
I can't wait to
it's
see
gonna
that
be
line. I
huge.
can't
I
wait
think-
to see
Literally,
Seider.
physically.
yeah.
Side
So and on the Bruins side, like again, we got some older guys, Bergie. I'd like to see how he's going to look as we starting
He's
to
got
get.
4 goals already this year?
Yeah, and again, that's why I started the session off saying, I know it's only the first week, so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
Even Jake DeBrusk killing penalties. I'm like, what
Well,
the hell?
I want to hear the Clifton thing.
So I was gonna.
let's get on to
So
this.
I
Let's
was gonna
finish
bring
with
it.
this.
Well, no, I am going to say I was very about DeBrusque. Very critical of DeBrusque, quite a bit. The kid, can he keep it going? We'll see. But I will say, he's hard on pucks. He's absolutely buzzing out there. And you're getting a good look at what the kid actually is. Like, I don't think he thinks it that well. I shouldn't say that. He thinks it okay. But his speed is deadly.
I never realized how fast
the goal
he was.
against Ekblad.
Yeah,
the setup.
Yeah, that sent Ekblad back to the IR.
And he's got a fire in his belly right now. So he's been playing hard. He's been hard on pucks. He's been all over the ice. He kind of slowed down a little bit the last couple games, so we'll kind of see. But also, I think it's a little bit of the inconsistency with the lineup, I think, too, where they're kind of like moving some guys in and out.
Yeah, Zach is with Krejci and Hall, then it switches.
And then my boy Clifton, like if Jack Edwards and Brickley, like every time I say something negative about that kid, those two come right back and be like, man,
that's good. That's
Cliff,
Jack and Ricky got my text. I said Gordo just went off. Let him have it.
Hit him again.
Offensively, good. He's got some speed. His decision making in our own end is not great. and defensively, he just gets beat all over the place. Like he just gets knocked off pucks everywhere he goes. And he seems very lost in the D zone, which is kind of strange because it doesn't seem like their system is that, problematic to figure out. But
You would think.
Again, offensively, great. I think it was nice to get Grizzlick back. Again, not a huge fan of him either.
Are you a fan of anyone on the Bruins?
Of Lindholm. So let me finish.
Let the man finish.
So Lindholm, really liking him right now, man. Like that's the guy that
If he could get rid of the tinted
Him or his
visor, I'd
hair?
like him even better.
He's probably to wear because he gets brains knocked in the next
he's
week.
big, plays heavy. He's got very high end skating. I like him on the power play. Like I like how he's working it up top. He's got an absolute missile for a shot. And he's played really he's played with an edge. I
Especially
really
after
like
the number one D
He's
man
with an edge after the hit he took last year.
So after last year, I was kind of like, we'll see how he comes back this year. And to my surprise, I've been really, enamored watching him play. I'm like, I really like this guy. The rest of the D, struggle bus city, but we have so much offensive punch up front that I think that's kind of disguising the back end right now. And two, Allmark has just been
Allmark has been unreal.
lights
I gotta
out.
ask you guys real quick back to the stick thing real quick.
We're in our final 3 minutes, just a heads up.
No problem. We'll only take 30 seconds.
Beautiful.
That's what she said. Oh, sorry.
Thanks, Meryl.
Go ahead.
Causeway King.
Continue the joke, please.
I've never been a fan of it. I've never done it myself. But what do you think the reasoning is for these guys spray painting the lower part of their sticks? I don't understand it.
You know what?
I'm being dead serious.
That's old school, baby.
No, I was on the ice last night at practice. I was helping out the U14 Terriers, and one of the kids had it. I look at him, I go, what is the purpose of that? He goes, it looks awesome. I said, no, it doesn't.
I don't know.
Clint's just ruining this kid's dreams.
All I can remember is walking in the college, you take your gitch and put your stuff on and take your suit off, and then you go grab your two brand new wood sticks, and guys would be cut it, file, little torch to the blade, play with the curve a little bit, little spray paint. Good to go, baby. I'm all about it. I like it. It's making a comeback. I like it.
Gordo, I
don't
absolutely
understand
love that take.
That's just me, though.
Yeah.
Lance, I'm with you. I don't get it.
I don't get it
That's
either.
funny. You're a funny bunny. And
Yeah.
that's just the
called
take
you a
right
bunny.
there. Called you a funny bunny right there. Folks, we're in the last few moments here. And with that being said, of course, the Boston Bruins are going to be in action against the Detroit Red Wings tomorrow. We got the rest of the schedule. Looking ahead, it's going to be a great season. I mean, they're off to the best start we've seen in years, especially for the Causeway Kings, keeping an eye on things. This makes Causeway Street very happy. So, Final thoughts real quick as we wrap it up here. Meryl, I'm tempted to start with you.
Don't worry. So great being on with you guys. Great being here in Abington, local cable. I mean, looking at this game, what I want to see is the consistency. Can the Bruins keep that consistency up? Can they be a little more structured defensively? Again, I'm not looking for a lockdown situation like Claude Julien, but let's see some structure, especially with Swayman. Get his confidence going. If he plays, get him his first win. So that's what I'm looking to see.
Beautiful. Gordo, final thought?
Yeah, I mean, I'm Team Monty right now. Like, I like what's going on with the team. It seems like the guys are all responding to him great. They like, his systems. They like his demeanor. Excited to potentially have Marshawn back early, which I think will be very interesting.
I think they said right before Thanksgiving.
And honestly, I
Maybe
think
even sooner.
if we could figure out a way to add like a piece to that back end, and obviously McAvoy coming back will be a huge piece. But if we could find one more solid defenseman, I think we would have a really good team that would make a pretty decent cup run if Allmark does solidify him, himself as that lead guy. Also, just wanted to say you guys missed out on a hell of a House of Dragons finale. Just saying.
House of
Just
Dragons,
saying.
we're going to hold that.
It was unbelievable.
You and your House of Dragons.
It was unbelievable.
Clance, final
House of
thoughts as
Wax.
we wrap it up here.
No, I'm excited for tomorrow night's game to see how see what they can do against a much more physically bigger team. They're more they're strong in that too. They picked up Husso from St. Louis in the off season, but yeah, I mean they get, like Gordo said, it's great that we could possibly get Marchand back soon, McAvoy soon, but I have seen articles that the Bruins are out looking for another right-hand defenseman. I don't even know who's available out there right now.
It's early. It's tough to tell.
It's very early.
We'll break it down and we'll have it all for you folks next time around here on the Causeway Kings. Thank you so much again to the WMEX Sports Podcast Network, all of our listeners there, as well as all of our viewers here on the Abington Cam Public Access Network and online at abingtoncam.tv for more information. Boys, as always, we wrap up another episode with the same way. Let's go Bees. We'll see you next time.